Hello, hello, Aldwyn Altuney here. I'm so excited. We have an amazing interview today with a lady I have known for a long time. We have been through so much together, and we have some phenomenal news for you today and some advancements on a project that this lady has been working on for 20 years. And similar to myself, we are both very passionate animal lovers, and I am so proud today and so excited about this interview with the amazing Lynn Santer. She is a writer, a film producer. She is the Land of the Free project founder, which is what we're going to talk about today, which is her 20-year fight to save endangered animals from trophy hunting. And now she's got a few projects in the wings, which will hopefully one day soon lead to a feature film, and she can share all about it. It's in the wings. Hello and welcome, Lynn.
Hi there, my old dear friend. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to hopefully an interesting hour's chat on this subject.
Yes, absolutely. Now, you know, it's amazing the work you've done for big cats particularly. I know big cats are very close to your heart over the years, and you've done all sorts of events and all sorts of, you know, different gatherings and done so much around this cause. So for those who don't know about Land of the Free, can you share a little bit about how you came to be involved with Land of the Free and what it's all about?
Absolutely. Well, that's quite a story, as you know, because you were there right at the beginning. But back in 2001, I was organising a high-profile event, which was an awareness raiser about the issue of the declining numbers of big cats, and also a fundraiser for a particular charity in Africa. Tibby Hedren, who's I'd known for a couple of years then, but was already a dear friend of mine, was coming out to Australia to front the event. And I had quite enough on my plate organising all of that when I received an email from a lady I had never heard of in Zimbabwe called Meryl Harrison. Meryl at the time was the chief inspector with the Zimbabwe SPCA, and she had her hands more than full with the farm invasions at the time and trying to save both domestic and farm animals from the brutalisation that was going on. And she was facing horror that she had to witness and deal with on a daily basis, and death threats and a number of other things that most people watching this probably couldn't even begin to imagine. When she learned about what was going on with the trophy hunting in Zimbabwe, and she had worked very hard alongside all of her other work with somebody from Department of National Parks to get an amendment to the Wildlife Act in Zimbabwe to protect the hunting of particularly endangered leopard with hounds, which contains several layers of cruelty because the hounds are trained with electric shock collars, which is barbaric. They're put in harm's way of the big cats, which is barbaric. It gives the big cats no chance, zero chance of escape, which is barbaric. There was also the issue of the hunters using live bait, such as donkeys and goats, which were tied to trees alive for scavengers to nibble at before the trophy animal took the lure. There was just so many layers and layers and layers of barbaric cruelty involved in this. And just for somebody to get a head on the wall for self-aggrandizement. But she had successfully, after a long time and a lot of blood, sweat and tears, got an amendment to the Wildlife Act to prevent the use of hunting with hounds and certain elements associated with this. And the person at National Parks had actually sent her the amendment with the words, "Victory is ours," across the amendment. Within days, the largest hunting group in the world, Safari Club International, had petitioned Zimbabwe, as it does regularly. When I say it does regularly, the group will petition foreign sovereign nations to overturn bans those countries have seen fit to put in place to protect their own endangered species, because there is massive money involved, hundreds of millions of dollars annually across the spectrum, to go and get a head on the wall, for thrills, for self-aggrandizement, for nothing more than that. So within days, Safari Club International had petitioned Zimbabwe, and as they had only just put this amendment through, they didn't overturn it, but they put special conditions on it. And the special conditions included things like only a certain number of leopard could be hunted. They had to have a member of national parks with them. It had to be filmed. There had to be some scientific input that was useful from the hunt. And it had to be for a limited amount of time. This was 2001. None of those conditions were ever met, and the amendments are still in force to this day in 2020. So in desperation, Merrill somehow got the email addresses of everyone who was involved in big cat conservation anywhere in the world and said, help, this is what's going on, what can you do? And I was one of those many who received that email from somebody I'd never heard from. So I read this email with shock and dismay and disgust and horror and said, but what can I do? I'm one person. I'm working in an office on the other side of the world. I've got my hands full organizing this major event with a Hollywood celebrity coming out. What can I possibly do that could change this situation? But I was so upset by what I read that I spent most of that day walking around the house asking myself over and over again, what can I do? Because I knew what most people were going to do, because it's what I was inclined to do, to say, you're fighting something that is too big and too powerful, and you're one person, and what can one person possibly do that can make a difference? So I came up with the idea, as one does if one lives in a James Bond film, that I would go out and find myself some ex-Special Forces commandos, no idea how I was going to do that, to plan an undercover mission to get visual and documented evidence of what was going on and who was doing it and everything that was involved behind it. And we'd tell the story. Well, it turns out my accountant had one of these people that I was seeking as a client, because of course I asked everyone, that's good, you know any ex-Special Forces commandos do? But of course one did. You don't know unless you ask. So I had a meeting with these guys and I told them what I wanted to do. And I said, I don't know if any of you might be hunters yourself. And one of them, in this deep, gravelly voice he has, and we still laugh about this, some of your viewers may not laugh, but we still do laugh about this to this day. And this deep, gravelly voice, he put his hand up and said, let me stop you right there. I have never shot anything but a human in my life. Okay. And they were all bad. So that was what he said. Anyway, so we decided that we would go forward with planning this mission. I told Tippy what I was doing, which wasn't what she'd signed up for. And was she up for it? And she went, hell yes. And so then I contacted this lady, Merrill Harrison, in Zimbabwe. And I said, well, you've never heard of me. I've never heard of you. But I received your email, and I know I live on the other side of the planet, but I'm holding this big event, and I've got this Hollywood icon coming out for it. By the way, I'm planning an undercover mission with some ex-Special Forces commandos. Can I pay for your ticket to come out to Australia to meet all of us and discuss what we've got to do? And that was where it all began. For real.
Wow.
Does that answer your question?
Extraordinary. That's amazing. You know, I do believe in the power of one, Lynn, and a lot of these things, you know, when it comes to animal cruelty and big issues in the world, like even COVID right now, like a lot of people would think, well, what can I do? I'm just little old me. What can I do about the state of the world with these things happening? And it takes a lot to step up against the grain as one person and to pull something like this together. And the little short film you did on this, it was 11 minutes or so. You had a short sort of documentary, mini documentary that's been on YouTube, and it's still on there now. Is that correct? That people can see that?
It's been re-put up. It hit 60,000 views in a few days, but the original one has come down because it was actually somebody else, friend of yours, Scott Collins, who put it up and then cancelled that YouTube channel, so a new one has been put up recently that doesn't have that many hits as the initial one did, but yes, it's still there. And in fact, all of the YouTubes, and there's a short clip on Meryl's life, and there's a short clip on this project. There's 5 or 6 different clips now on the official website, which is Land of the Free Movie, altogether, landofthefreemovie.com. If you leave the movie part out, you'll get to lots of people raising the American flag, Land of the Free. Obviously, I called it Land of the Free in both conviction and irony, but you can't get landofthefree.com because every American nationalist has said it before you. So it's landofthefreemovie.com. And all the information about the projects are there, and not everything that we went through in the following now 20 years, close to 20 years to make it happen. But oh my goodness, did we have obstacles put in our path. We all had death threats. Meryl's were written and at the pointed end of an axe repeatedly.
Wow.
Yes, she lost her partner. She lost her twin brother during this time. She suffered a near-fatal heart condition, which she couldn't afford to have fixed. It was actually supporters from South Africa who came in with the money. Well, I say the money. When people heard about her plight, the surgeons offered to operate on her for free. The airlines offered to fly her over for free. Mercedes put a car and a chauffeur at her disposal for free. This saved her life. And she, as soon as she had the surgery, she was back in the field doing what she does again. During her tenure, 22 years in Africa and 10 years as chief inspector with the Zimbabwe SPCA, she has saved or safeguarded the lives of literally thousands of animals. She's a hero. She is the hero of this story.
Wow.
Because she has been on the front line, putting her life at risk over and over again. And today, she's 81. She has had to move back to the UK because, as a result of everything she's seen, I mean, imagine witnessing the horror that she saw on a daily basis, more than most of us could see once, on a daily basis. And the risk, the physical risk to life and limb she put herself in. So she's now suffering from advanced post-traumatic stress syndrome, among other things. And we are very, very fortunate to be able to have her testimony, because there's lots of people who can give opinions and facts, but she has frontline eyewitness testimony, and what she has to tell us is going to be one of the things that is going to swing this. There are other key features as well, which I'm sure we'll get to talk about, but yes, that's Meryl.
Well, blessings to Meryl Harrison. What an amazing lady. What an extraordinary legacy she has left. And, you know, what an amazing thing you've done, Lynn, to help bring this to the public eye and help raise more awareness for this. And I must say, when I watched, and I've seen that short documentary put together, I've seen it quite a few times. Every single time I am horrified when I see the hounds going after the cougar, I think it is in there. There's a cheetah. Yeah, there's a cougar. Yeah, and then
a lynx. It was a lynx, actually.
A lynx, right? And then there's a black panther, I think, also that's let out of a cage.
That one was on American soil. Canned hunting doesn't just happen in Africa; it happens in America as well. Yeah, there are 2 canned hunts in that video, one of a tiger and one of a leopard, that both occurred in the United States. Animals bred for the bullet.
Absolutely horrific, this footage. And, you know, now it's time for more people to see it. And we've got some very exciting developments, right, in this project. So I'd love you to share where we're at because of COVID and due to COVID, right, that this whole 20-year project has now taken a different turn. So what's currently happening now?
Well, that's true. To take you back to 2001, and when we originally got some of the undercover footage, and we thought, you know, well, we'll make this public and that will end it all. We were very naive back then. It took us 5 years to get the story out because we were blocked one way and another, time and again. I mean, they're very, very wealthy, powerful people behind this group. We're talking presidents, senators, armed forces generals, billionaires. And they have a wide web to cast. And they cast it. So eventually, thanks to the wonderful Kirstine Lum, who was then with Channel 9, we got a cover story on Channel 9 in 2006. And Tippy once again came out to Australia for that. And yes, the phones absolutely went into meltdown after this story aired. But we didn't have a follow-through plan because, again, we were naive. We thought, well, if we make it public, it'll stop. We know better now. And of course, in 2006, social media wasn't what it is today. So pretty soon it was today's news became tomorrow's fish and chips wrappers, you know, as it used to be in the good old days, newspapers.
Yes.
And we thought, well, what are we going to do? So I wrote the lightly fictionalized novel of the Hollywood legend, the embattled conservationist, the Australian socialite, and the ex-Special Forces commandos who teamed to undercover brutal atrocities against endangered big game by some of the wealthiest men on earth. And it sounds like a movie description, doesn't it? That wouldn't happen in real life, except it did. And I went out to Los Angeles, and Tippy and I launched the book, the novel, at the Grove. And we had a film producers meeting after that where we sold the option to produce it into a feature film. That producer very quickly discovered some of the roadblocks that we had come up against, and then this just happened again and again and again and again until I met an amazing man who is now my production partner, James Ganea. And this was us at the Emmys in, let's get this.
Yeah, that's it. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful
okay,
gown.
so that's the Emmys in 2015, which is the year Cecil the Lion was killed. And I thought that would be a good place to make a statement. So that I had that dress made by our mutual friend, the fashion designer Ro London. And that dress got more photographed than the Emmy winners, let me tell you. And I told James all about this project. And anyway, through one thing and another, he came up with a strategy which everyone who was involved by then, and by then it was a lot more people, thought was brilliant, which was to get the non-fiction story out first. And then once that's out, we have intellectual property and other rights that will make stopping the feature film considerably harder, if not impossible, and especially with the change in public momentum. I mean, there has been a tectonic shift in awareness and in public attitude around this issue in the 20 years that I've been involved. But still, it takes money, not as much money, but still it takes money to put something like that together. And there were still obstacles that we had to face, and not least of which I faced a major medical challenge through all of 2016, which you're aware of. So we had still a few setbacks, but then the wonderful Larry Corman, God bless you, president of AKA Residences International, Luxury Residences, came through with some Kickstart funding for us in 2018, which enabled us to film Tippy and also to film the original ex-Special Forces commandos, who I was still in contact with and who I got out to Los Angeles to meet with everybody. And we still had people all over the world who we needed contributions from, and not least of which was Sir Roger Gale, who is somebody I've known for over 25 years. He has been a member of Parliament for 36 years. He was the man who spearheaded the ban on fox hunting in the United Kingdom. He was the man who helped me get attributable quotes from Prince William for our film, and licensed footage of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth for our film. So a very powerful and important man. But this required getting a camera crew in the UK, and we thought getting us to the UK as well. So the budget at that point was looking at getting James flown over from America, myself flown over from Australia. And you know, these things all take money, you know, airfares, accommodation, etc., etc., etc. Then with the advent of this plague that's sweeping the world, we all suddenly discovered the things we could do on Zoom. And I woke up one morning and I phoned James and I said, you know what? We don't need to fly to London or Sydney or Washington or all these other places that we have contributors, vital contributors for the film. We can go in by Zoom and pick up local camera crews in the various locations around the world. And he went, brilliant. So then I needed to raise a lot less money. So I went back to Larry and his beautiful, amazing wife, Corinne, God bless you too, because it was Corinne who then introduced me to a fellow called Bill McNabb, who is a very wealthy philanthropist in Philadelphia. And I said to Bill, I told him all about the project. I told him a little bit about what we'd been through to get to this point. And I said, now we only need this amount of money instead of this amount of money to get it done using Zoom technology. And he said, I'll write you a check. Just like that. Now, if COVID hadn't happened and we hadn't worked out that we didn't actually have to be there in person, we could direct via Zoom, this wouldn't have happened. And we now have a 3-phase strategy. So we are currently producing a short version of the documentary, which we plan to premiere at the Cannes Film Festival, which we think will be running in May 2021, which is interesting timing because James and I, if all things work out, are going to be here in Australia filming another project, nothing to do with this, a big science fiction project that you're aware of, Almithia, here on the Gold Coast. And we can't be at both ends of the world and Zoom won't cut it at that time. So I actually asked Larry, who is, of course, the first financier into the project, and he's an executive producer on the project, and he's very passionate about the project, and he knows the project intimately, if he would attend the Cannes Film Festival on our behalf to represent it. And his immediate response was, in a New York second, not minute, which is the expression, in a New York second. So again, God bless you, Larry. So the plan is to premiere the short at the Cannes Film Festival in 2021, then to produce the full feature documentary by 2022, and then the feature film that was originally planned in 2023. But we're not just making a noise this time. We learned last time making a noise isn't good enough. You need an actionable follow-through plan, and this is where people like Sir Roger, who has been there and done that with the political lobbying and legislative changes, come into play. We have an actionable follow-through plan that will change laws, change minds, change the world, and ban the import of trophies, we believe, worldwide for good, of endangered species. I can't give you a lot more information on that at the moment, but there is a robust long-term strategy in plan with people behind it who know how to do this sort of thing. So we will make a noise, but we won't just make a noise.
Fantastic. That is very, very exciting news. Very exciting. I don't know what there's an echo there in the background. For some reason there's an echo. That is very, very cool. I love that, having a strategy and a plan in place to end trophy hunting for good. There is no reason in the world why people should be hunting animals to have a bloody trophy on their wall, right? It's disgusting. It's despicable. And shame, 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 as Darren Hinch would say, right? Shame on you, those out there who are doing it, and shame on you who are introducing it to your children. I can't believe some of the photos out there of kids standing next to lions with guns, little 2-3-year-old kids. It's disgusting. And it's about time we said enough is enough. This is unacceptable, and it's time to put it to a stop?
Well, of course, the trophy hunters will tell you they're all great conservationists, and the money from trophy hunting goes to conservation efforts and goes to local communities and goes to anti-poaching patrols. Of course, that is all demonstrably not true. And the decline of numbers of endangered species while this has been happening is evidence of this enough. But, you know, and they say they're only going after the old and infirm. Well, explain Cecil. Cecil was a young, healthy lion. He was lured out of a sanctuary because he has a rare black mane. They don't just want the trophy on the wall. There's a points system in this club. The rarer the animal you kill, the more unusual method you kill it by, the most continents you kill on, you get more points and you get more accolades within the club. That's become almost as important to them as the head on the wall. And as a rare black-maned lion, Cecil was going to get more points, and he was shot. A lot of people don't know this. Not with a high-powered rifle, but with a bow and arrow. He took 40 hours to die in terrified agony. 40 hours to die in terrified agony. And that method wins them more points, killing with a bow and arrow, which is rarely a clean kill. I mean, we have other witnesses that will talk about multiple gunshots, up to 27, before they make the kill shot, because, you know, these aren't sniper marksmen. They're weekend warriors who are going to get their jollies by taking another life. And I mean, you have to ask yourself, what sort of person takes pride and pleasure in taking a life, any life, for any reason? You know, maybe if your life is threatened, maybe if we're talking subsistence farming or subsistence hunting, but we're talking about something that is for no other reason than self-aggrandizement for the hunters and for profit for the safari operators. What sort of person takes pleasure and pride in doing that? And what sort of parent thinks it is good parenting to put a gun into the hands of a child and teach them that killing is good? These are the sorts of people we're dealing with.
They're clearly sociopaths, psychopaths, twisted people, clearly. How can anyone in their right mind, in any state of humanity, in any kind of sense of any human kindness, compassion sense, how can anyone do it? These people clearly have no empathy. They are clearly twisted, have serious mental issues, and it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And
that's your opinion and my opinion, but we actually have somebody who is speaking to this with some authority, which I can't give you more detail on at the moment, but it is somebody who can speak to that exact point with considerable authority. And when you hear what he has to say and the background that he has come from, that is going to be a jaw-dropping moment in this movie. So we've still got a few secret aces up our sleeve.
Right. Well, you know, I often say hurt people, right? So if people are going out hunting animals, purely innocent animals, amazing animals that are actually endangered species, killing off species for future generations never to be able to see again except for a dead trophy on a wall, it's disgusting, and I believe it should be banned, and it should be banned immediately. I think it's absolutely disgraceful, and I cannot believe that this is happening and that it's allowed to go on currently, and yet alone there's a lot of illegal practices too, isn't there, Lynn, around this? This is not all...
Well, yes, there are, but you raise a good point. I mean, people may think what I'm talking about is illegal, because a lot of people talk about my film on poaching. This is not about illegal poaching. Everything that I have spoken about today is legal. This is about the legal encouragement of the torture and slaughter of the world's most endangered animals. Just let that sink in. This is about the legal encouragement of the torture and slaughter of the world's most endangered animals. That has to stop.
It is sick, and it's unfortunate. There's a lot of sociopaths and psychopaths, and no doubt when we get a bit more evidence on this, where people can actually say, yes, we've done some research into the states of minds of those people that are running these organisations that clearly are not mentally stable. And
we will be giving it to you.
We'll be getting it right. So stay tuned on that one. But clearly, I can say in my gut, there's a lot of sick people out there, unfortunately. And so for those like yourself, like me, like how can we support this project? Because, often you think about this, you think, oh my goodness, how can we stop these kind of brutal atrocities from happening? How can we stop it? And, I do believe that if we come together and we all pitch in and we all do our little bit, that we can make a difference, right? Because, one person may not be able to make a difference, but one
awareness.
Yes.
And there are many pages like Expose Trophy Hunting, Trophy Hunters of Vermin. There's many Facebook, none of those are mine, by the way, but there are many Facebook pages up there. Join them, follow them. Various petitions come up from time to time. Please sign them. It is about awareness. It is about spreading the news. But Documentary Australia Foundation, which is a group in this country that will qualify certain projects of social conscience for tax deductibility status, have approved Land of the Free as one of those projects. So anyone who wants to contribute financially, because making these films and doing these campaigns costs money, there's a link I can put in the chat to go to Land of the Free in the Documentary Australia Foundation. There's also a link on the Land of the Free movie website. All donations are 100% tax deductible. Thank you to Documentary Australia Foundation. That's in Australia. In the United States, James has a similar arrangement with a group called Fractured Atlas. So if you're watching in America, the same thing applies in the United States, 100% tax deductibility. And those links are all on landofthefreemovie.com, or we can send you the direct link to make the donations here. So those are a couple of ways that you can get involved and make a difference. Because one of the things we are also going to be doing is bringing out a supplement website called the Hall of Shame. And the Hall of Shame is going to do exactly that. And yes, our lawyers are prepared. Because we are going to name and shame. Because the way you could also send a message to these people, apart from getting laws changed to ban the import of the trophies, which is obviously the main thing, is to make people aware who are perpetrating these crimes, and they are crimes. And then you have a decision. You have a decision not to vote for them when they run for office. You have a decision not to buy products from their company or services from their company. Talk to them in a language they understand. They understand losing votes. They understand losing money in their custom. So don't buy from them. Don't vote for them. And to know who to not buy from and not vote for, you have to know who they are. So go to those Facebook pages, and when we have our site up, which will come out with the film, go to that.
I want to name and shame them now. I want to get the big list out now and stop supporting them.
Well, I on the website, back in 2001, there was a petition to Botswana from Safari Club International. Two of the key signatories have since passed, but to give you an idea of how powerful the people are that we are up against. Now, this goes back to what I was saying about these people thinking it is their God-given right. They actually quote the Bible on occasion, incorrectly, but they actually quote the Bible on occasion. It is our God-given right to do this, and we are going to petition foreign sovereign nations to overturn bans they have seen fit to put in place to protect their animals. And the petition from Safari Club to Botswana in 2001 contained the signatures of George Bush Sr., General Norman Schwarzkopf, and Senator Dan Quayle. Those are the sorts of people we're up against, that level of person. It's absolutely no secret that Donald Trump Jr. is a key member of this club, an avid hunter. So, yeah, it's a real David and Goliath battle. But let's not forget, David won.
So look out, here we come. I do believe that, justice will prevail in the end. I do believe in karma. I do believe if people are going to be doing this kind of stuff, it will come back and bite them in the backside. It'll bite them somehow, right? And the fact is they've got to live with themselves at the end of this. And they may not have a conscience around it. That's why I say sociopath, psychopath, because a lot of those people don't have any empathy, right? However, at the end of the day, they've got to live with themselves and their families. Once this naming shaming comes out, I'm sure the extended families are going to be fascinated.
About the families. I mean, you have to ask, what kind of mind believes it is good parenting to put a gun into the hand of a child, some of them as young as 3 years old? We have all of this. We have a wealth of information that will be coming out with this. Who thinks it is a good idea to put a gun into the hand of a child, some as young as 3 years old, and teach them that killing is good? What does that do? How does that influence the mind of a growing child?
It's
good outdoorsmanship.
It's shocking. And, I said hurt people hurt people. Well, hurt people who hurt people usually start off hurting animals first. Usually it's hurt people hurt animals, and then it goes
usually to it is every single one. I have this from a number of sources now. Every single serial killer, everyone began as an animal abuser.
Wow.
How about that?
That's big. That is really big. Wow. Unbelievable. My goodness. And, you mentioned Tippi Hedren before. Now, what an extraordinary lady she is. Now, for those who don't know Tippi Hedren, would you like to share a bit more about the amazing Tippi Hedren?
Sure. Tippi was Alfred Hitchcock's iconic star of the iconic film The Birds, and perhaps slightly lesser known film Marnie, which starred Sean Connery just after he had appeared in his first James Bond film, Dr. No. And she makes me laugh when she recounts her tales of working with Hitchcock and Sean Connery, because there's a rape scene in Marnie where the Sean Connery character is supposed to rape the Tippi Hedren character. And she told me the story once of going to Hitch and saying, how am I supposed to sell being raped by Sean Connery? Because surely that's not possible. And apparently Hitchcock looked down his nose at her and said, it's called acting.
Oh, it's a hard job, but someone's got to do it, right?
Well, I'll tell you too, at that time when we launched the book in the Grove, and then we had the meeting with the film producers afterwards, Tippi and I were in the private cocktail room where we're going to meet the producers first, and I was in the clothes and the jewelry and the makeup and the heels and the whole catastrophe. And then we were going to walk across to where we were going to sign the books publicly and then walk back. And I had no concept of how far these two venues were from one another. So being a Gold Coast girl, tropics like comfort, and I bought a pair of flats with me to change into to walk from one place to the other. And as we're leaving, I'm about to take my heels off and put my flats on, and Tippi, who is shorter than me, looked down her nose at me and said, you will wear high heels, you will get sore feet, you will look elegant, and you will smile. And I went, yes, ma'am. Okay. Fortunately, it wasn't far. So she's Alfred Hitchcock, star of The Birds and Marnie. She's Melanie Griffith's mother and Dakota Johnston's grandmother. So there's quite an acting dynasty in the family. I've had the pleasure of meeting Melanie and staying at Tippi's home, which is a preserve for big cats that have been rescued from private facilities and private ownership in the United States. We've now known each other for 21 years. So, I mean, we've stayed in each other's homes. We've traveled together. I mean, this has been a lifelong crusade for her and a 20-year crusade for me. So, I mean, we are just totally bonded. And of course, Tippi, Melanie knows all about it. Dakota knows all about it. I wanted to check up on Tippi once during one of the fire seasons there, and the phones were down at the preserve. So I phoned Melanie's home just to check Tippy was okay. And this voice answered the phone and said, I said, I'm just calling to check on Tippy. I can't get an answer at the preserve. Is Melanie there? And the voice said, no, Melanie's not here. Who's calling? And I said, oh, it's Tippy's friend from Australia. And this voice said, oh, hello, Lynn, this is Dakota. I went, okay. So I'm obviously discussed around the dinner table. That's fine. Tippy's friend in Australia immediately went to, oh, yeah, that's Lynn.
Yeah. Nice.
So
and what an amazing
we're very, very, very close. Very close. Yeah.
So you've known her 21 years. We've known each other nearly 20 years now. It's been probably around the same amount of time. And we actually met, for those that don't know, Lynn and I met. I was working as a journalist at the Gold Coast Sun, and Lynn always had great stories. You always had amazing stories, Lynn. And I remember one of them was about of course, the swans and the eels attacking the cygnets and Lynn, the word Lynn means lady of the lake, and Lynn's always got a story about her swans, and so we did some stories, didn't we, in the Sun? And then you had consistent stories. We did stories about your work with the big cats and ongoing stories back in the day.
Yep.
And then I became your personal paparazzi photographer, taking photos all around the countryside with you. We've done a lot of amazing things together. Worked on Almithia together. That was amazing. That's an amazing project too to keep an eye on. Almithia is phenomenal. That's another project 20 year in the making. Isn't that interesting? That just got launched last year.
Not 20 years of mine, but yes, 20 years of the creator, AJ Coots. Absolutely. Yes. I've been involved in that one since the end of 2016. And I've got some fabulous people now on board with that. I should mention too, Priscilla Presley is involved in both those projects, another good friend of mine. She's an executive producer on Land of the Free and also on Almithia, and has a cast part in Almithia as well. She's been a very good friend and avid supporter for about 12 years now. And Cliff Simon, Lord Barl on Stargate, who you met.
Yes.
He's also involved in both projects. Has a cast role in Almithia, a major cast role in Almithia, and is the narrator of the Land of the Free documentary. Originally South African, both Priscilla and Cliff, very, very passionate about the cause and fun people. And you've met Cliff, you know, he's a ton of fun, a great guy. And yeah, so we've got some really, really tremendous people and high profile people around the world, literally around the world behind us.
It's wonderful, wonderful. And I did enjoy doing some PR with Almithia last year. We launched the book in Hunter Valley. We launched it on the Gold Coast, Brisbane. It was an amazing journey where Cliff Simon came out from Stargate fame, and we had an amazing time on that. I'm so glad we did it before COVID, right? Before all this crazy lockdown.
Weren't we lucky? Weren't we lucky? We just got in there, really.
We just got in. Yep, we just got in, which was awesome, and can't wait to see how that evolves too. And
that was the launch of the first book, which was phenomenally successful and a ton of fun.
Yes.
So hopefully we'll reprise that when the supernova conventions are able to open again, which obviously isn't at the moment.
Yes. Absolutely. And it was such an honor for me to MC the event at the Hunter Valley with Joanna Griggs of Channel 7 fame. Her mum was my year 6 teacher at North Balgowlah Primary School in Sydney, and Joanna Griggs and I used to play against each other. We used to play softball against each other with our schools. She was at Manly, I was at North Balgowlah. And after all those years, we reconnected. I did an interview with her, which went out on Facebook. And what an amazing synchronicity. And that Joanna knew the Coots family because of, the work that they'd done. And it's unbelievable the way
that... It's actually worth talking about that because AJ Coots, who is the author and creator of Almithia, has had a cause very close to his heart for a long, long, long time. And a percentage of all of his profits from the franchise, this is a franchise of books and films, Almithia, go to support a cause called Beyond Blue, which of course has become very fashionable now with COVID, that helps fight against suicide and depression. But for AJ, this was always there. So the Almithia project isn't just about making a buck or telling a story either. There's a strong philanthropic component behind this, what will be a blockbuster franchise for sure, as well. A different cause, but of course, nonetheless.
Yeah, which is wonderful, and it's something close to my heart to understand for truth and good news and to help end depression, suicide rates. I've had depression. I've had 4 friends take their own lives. It's about 1 million people a year worldwide who take their own lives. So I think supporting causes like Beyond Blue and also like Are You OK Day, there's a lot of great causes out there that we can support. And I love that about Almithia. And what beautiful people, I must say, the Hunter Valley crew, such gorgeous people. Really enjoyed working with those guys, and you've done a lot, obviously very close with them, and you're taking the whole series out, right, with the whole next books that are coming up and the whole franchise.
Well, we're very close to finishing. Well, we have finished really the second manuscript. It's going through various polishes at the moment, so that will be released possibly the end of this year, possibly early next year. But yes, the second book's getting ready to go, and as I said, the first one was a terrific success. We have a burgeoning fan base now around the world, which a lot of that came following Cliff Simon from Stargate across to Almithia, but it's now Almithia in its own right. And some of those have crossed over to Land of the Free as well, because it's, well, who's involved in Almithia and what else are they involved in? So there's been a lot of cross-pollinization going on here. And of course, you can see that in the cast and crews of the films, because, as I said, Priscilla's involved in both, Cliff's involved in both, James is involved in both. And Peter Bergman, our executive producer of Almithia, I'm pretty sure is going to make the transition across to Land of the Free as well. So we're doing a lot of cross-pollinization between projects, even though the projects are completely unrelated in every sense. What the connection is good people.
Yes.
With a passion.
And who are willing to take action and actually do something, not just think about it or talk about it, actually do something about it. And that is huge, absolutely huge. And what was happening with Almithia when we launched it around the countryside, people were following us from launch to launch to launch. There were people that came to all 3 launches, Hunter Valley, Gold Coast and Brisbane. It was extraordinary, the following that it was getting. And, of course, there's a great group on Facebook if you want to check it out too, Almithia, Almythea. Check out Almithia if you want to find out more about that. And just going back to Tippi Hedren for a second. Now, she does have a sanctuary in LA. Are you happy to mention what the sanctuary's name is?
Yes. Shambhala, Shambala, Shambhala Preserve. Yeah.
Shambhala
there's a website people can go to.
Okay, wonderful. So Shambhala Reserve, check it out. There's Tippi's amazing project over there. And I had the great honor, thanks to you, Lynn, to connect with Tippi when I was over in LA and to interview her over there. And she did correct me, because I always thought in the Alfred Hitchcock film, The Birds, I always thought it was crows that were attacking her. But she said, no, it's ravens, right? So they're ravens, not crows, for those that are wondering. Okay, ravens are bigger than crows, apparently. I learned something about animals that day. And what an amazing lady.
I'll tell you something else. She has a replica of one of the famous scenes from The Birds at the Big Cat Sanctuary, which is where they were all lining up on the child's playground. And there are real ravens in her sanctuary. And when they saw what they thought were competitor ravens arrive, they swooped and attacked all these models. They pecked them to pieces. Decimated them. So now she has plaster cast ones, so they can't destroy them.
Amazing. And Priscilla Presley, I'm sure people are wondering, how did you first meet Priscilla Presley? How did that come about? And this amazing friendship you have now. And that is the Priscilla Presley. Yes, she was married to Elvis once upon a time. That Priscilla Presley.
Yeah, everyone thinks it's Lisa Marie. No, not the daughter. Elvis's wife.
Yes.
How that came about. Actually, there's a funny story that involves you here. I was writing a column for a magazine about celebrities and their philanthropic causes, and I had an interview with Priscilla that was supposed to go for 15 minutes, and it went for considerably longer than that because we just connected straight away. And that you'll be able to tell me the year, because it was the year of your first animal action event. So whatever year that was the year it was.
2007, world's first animal action day. Mm-hmm.
Now, I think we got on to talking about magical scarecrows somehow, which is another project that Aldwyn has followed me around on. And I was giving Priscilla the website to look it up, and she didn't, I think because it was it is themagicalscarecrows.com, and I think she wasn't putting in the. So I said, look, just Google search it. And when she did a Google search, because I had been at Animal Action with Magical Scarecrows that year, instead of bringing up my website, it brought up yours. Now, who was the star attraction at your first event? Do you remember?
Dean Vegas.
That's right.
The world's best Elvis impersonator.
The world's best Elvis impersonator. So when Priscilla Googled Magical Scarecrows, instead of getting my site, she got yours and got world's best Elvis impersonator and went, what? I swear to God, that's what happened.
What are the chances?
Seriously, what are the chances of connecting those dots? So we had a good laugh, and we've been best friends ever since. Not quite that simple, but yeah, that's where that one started.
Amazing. Well, there you go. And, you know, I just ran a workshop today. I mentioned Dean Vegas. He ran for mayor, of course. Mayor. He didn't make it in as mayor, but he has been book solid as Elvis ever since, right? I know, it is a shame. It is a shame. He's been book solid as Elvis. He's amazing. Amazing guy too.
He's fabulous. And a lovely human being. We love you, Dean.
Yes, love you, Dean. I think he's got about 50 women that love him right now. But anyway, that's what happens when you're an Elvis impersonator. So we'll just send you love from here. In fact, I will even send you one of these. Here we go. Sending you love, Dean Vegas. Very nice. Okay, so control yourself. I think I'm hormonal at the moment, a little bit on heat. Anyway, let's get back to
the... Only because it's a public forum.
That's right. It's a public forum, so control yourselves, okay? Control yourself. Now, if you have any questions for Lynn, if you're watching this live stream, I can see a whole lot of people been hopping on here. If you have any questions, pop them in the chat in the comments, and I would love to hear from you. Any questions at all about Land of the Free or about how we can help save the endangered animals from trophy hunting with Land of the Free? Any other tips, any other suggestions, actually, Lynn, what people can do watching this right now? Now, of course, one thing they can do is, of course, share this video, right? If you like what you see, share the video. We've got the link already where people can make a donation in the chat box there, documentaryaustralia.com.au/project/land-of-free-animal-trafficking-redefined. Okay, it's all there. You don't need to remember all that. Just click on the link.
That's link, not mine, but yes.
Yes, that's their link. That's their link. Yes, and landofthefreemovie.com is the other place to look.
Where that you will also find the connection to that site, yeah.
Yes.
And also the one in America. There's tax-deductible links for both Australia and America on the official website. So, yeah, go to landofthefreemovie.com. Watch the videos. If you can make a donation, everything helps us get our story out there. And go to join some of the other groups on Facebook that are nothing to do with me, but, you know, be aware of who these people are. Don't vote from them. Don't vote for them. Don't buy from them. If there's a petition, sign it. Those are some of the things you can do right now.
Now, I would like to name and shame someone. The guy that runs GoDaddy, he was pictured with an elephant, trophy hunted an elephant, right? Now, I know there was a lot of uproar around this. So GoDaddy is one organization I recommend do not support. Okay, there you go. I've said it. And you might want to look into that yourself. The guy that runs GoDaddy, he was seen with an elephant, shooting an elephant. Okay, now that's disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And shame on you, and there'll be others, no doubt, that we will be naming and shaming. Okay, and if you know any, please do let us know so we can add them to the name and shame list.
Absolutely. We'll add them to our Hall of Shame, please. Has to be verified, but if you've got something verified, you can contact me through the website and we will definitely add them to our Hall of Shame.
Yes, well, there was a photo of this guy.
That one you've just told me about.
Definitely look into that one. There was a photo of him with a gun next to an elephant that I saw, And I must say, GoDaddy customer service is disgraceful as well. So apart from that, it's just not good customer service anyway. So go elsewhere. Okay, that's my opinion on that one. Do not support them financially. Okay, moving on. So Lynn, look, congratulations. What an amazing effort that you put into this, and everyone involved with this project. Kudos to you. Good on you. You know, I do believe, good on you. Yeah, good on you. And thank you. Thank you for coming on board and supporting this. And if you're watching this right now and you support it in any way, thank you too, because every little bit makes a difference.
Yes, it does.
And I do believe together we can make a difference. Be the change you want to see in the world, as Gandhi said.
Well, as I say, in closing all of my addresses on this subject, together, we're going to add a new species to the endangered list, the trophy hunter.
Absolutely. About time the trophy hunter became endangered. About bloody time, I say.
Hunter is the hunted.
The hunter is the hunted.
Now it is.
Now it is. Indeed, absolutely. And at the Animal Action Night last year, we had our 13th annual event. We raised funds and awareness for Land of the Free, and you did an unbelievable speech, I must say, Lynn, at that event, which people can see online, right? They can still find that speech online. So would you like to share anything that you shared at that speech that people...
well, that speech is actually up in full on the landofthefreemovie.com website. People called it the Martin Luther King speech of the animal kingdom, because in it I likened some activities that were legal and considered acceptable in the past but no longer, to trophy hunting being the next stain on humanity that needs to be relegated to the history books. And one of the other things that we actually address in our film is how many things were legal until much more recent times than you might imagine, and considered acceptable, not just legal, which now are abhorrent. And trophy hunting is going to be one of those things, and I and my team are going to make sure of it.
I love it. I love it. And, you know, one of the first stories I ever wrote about, which isn't directly related to this, but kind of is, was actually an anti-duck shooting story. When I was working as a editor at the Curio newspaper, which was the Canberra University newspaper, one of the very first stories I wrote was an anti-duck shooting story. I could not believe that people were shooting ducks for fun, which still happens in Victoria to this day, which is disgusting. It still happens around the world. People shoot ducks for fun. And I remember our headline was "Go and Get Ducked." Now, that's how I feel about this situation. Go and get ducked to the whole lot of you that are doing trophy hunting, because soon you are going to be an endangered species too, right? It's coming. You watch this space. All right. So it's time for us to speak up. It's time to share the word. If you are moved by this at all today watching this, then I encourage you to share this, to get on the websites, to get active. It takes 2 seconds to share or to sign a petition or do something, right? So just do something if you're moved at all. And if you want to do more, then do more, right? And just take some time and be of service. There's no greater purpose than being of service, right? And this is a great way you can be of service. If you're moved by this, then please come and join the campaign, join the crusade to save our beautiful animals from being hunted, our endangered animals, and
not
to
just
help
hunted, but marched into extinction. Extinction is forever.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. That's right. Not just hunted, but marched into extinction. We want to stop all that. We want to help save the animals. So great work, Lynn. Any final words you would like to share before we wrap up this interview?
Just please visit the website. That's the message. Please visit the website.
Yes,
So
landofthefreemovie.com. landofthefreemovie.com, and also the link is in the comments for where you can make a 100% tax deductible donation to Land of the Free for this project. And definitely have a look at landofthefreemovie.com. I think you will be shocked and horrified by what you see. And I know some people say it's too hard to watch some of this stuff, which is exactly why you should be watching this stuff, right?
If the people who care don't watch, who does it leave? But it's not all horror. There are inspirational and beautiful stories up there too.
Wonderful.
So don't be frightened off by it's all horror. It's not.
It's not all horror. Yeah, there's a lot of inspirational messages here too. And everything that's dark also has a light side, right? So there's always, at the end of every breakdown, there's always a breakthrough. So there's always light and dark with everything. And it's important to let's focus more on the light and what can be done to shift this situation. Now let's put our love and energy into this, and let's help create change. I'm 100% behind you, Lynn. Congratulations on the work you and your team are doing. It's extraordinary. My pleasure, my pleasure. And I can't wait to see how things progress. Watch this space. Watch this space. All right. Thank you so much, Lynn. Any final words from you?
No, that's it. No, I'm done.
It. It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Sending you love. Sending you love. Thank you to everyone who's supporting Land of the Free. Thank you so much. And be the change you want to see in the world. Let's do this. Thank you so much. See you again soon. Bye for now.